Welcome to the Young Pro Show, ladies and gentlemen. Excited to bring you some more value on the show today. We have our special guest, Tim Rhode, here with us today. Thank you, Tim Rhode, for coming in.
Hey, it's my pleasure, guys. I'm not exactly a young pro, as you can see by the gray hair, but they have a bit of value to add.
Cool. Hey, a little bit about Tim. He was a late bloomer, but he found his way in being an incredible, successful entrepreneur. He's retired by 40 and now spends all his time giving back to the world. So he can give you guys a little bit more details about that. Tim, why don't you start off by just telling us where this whole journey began for you?
Cool. Well, I was a late bloomer. I was the kid in the back of your high school class throwing spitwads at you, looking out the window, doing anything but paying any attention to the teachers because I really didn't see much value in learning the periodic tables. I got out in the world because I didn't pay much attention in school. I got off to a late start. 25 years old, I found myself a part-time grocery clerk painting addresses on people's curbs, buy diapers for my two small kids. Always had an entrepreneurial spirit though. Started selling real estate at 25. I sold 3 houses my first weekend. I knew it was on. For the next 15 years, I cranked Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle. Cup of coffee in one hand, cigarette in the other. We can just rocking down the road. Try to stop me. I'm going to go sell something. Thing I did different from most, and this is something I want to touch on a lot later, is as my income rose, my expenses, I still lived like a grocery clerk. Think about that. Most, as their income goes up, their expenses goes up with them or past them, and they don't have extra money to invest. So I lived well within my means, started making more money, learned how to invest. I went to the University of Life on selling, negotiating, connecting, investing. And by 40, I was able to retire with enough passive income coming in to fund the party. So, yeah.
Wow. So you had a grocery clerk at 25, and then you got into real estate and you started selling houses right away.
Correct. Yeah. Sold 3 the first, held an open house, sold it, listed their house, and took some buyers out and sold them a house my first week.
Did you have goals before that you had set that, did you know that you wanted to be successful?
Boy, that's a really good question. I didn't have a lot of role models. Everybody in my life was, just kind of making their way. So there weren't people out there for me to go, holy criminy, I want to be like that person. So I kind of just struggled, to be honest with you. And I think I had visions of a wonderful future, but no idea of how I was going to get there.
And real estate ended up to the path.
Yeah, real estate ended up being the path. I think what I did, as I said earlier, different from most, is I lived well within my means. And one of my lines is defense wins championships. And I find too many that make a lot of money, but spend even more. And what they really don't do, my good friend Byron McBroom, his line is, what you measure, you can manage. And I'm really into mastering your ABCs. A is what income is coming in from all sources. B is what's it cost me a month to live. And C, what's left for, unfortunately, far too many, debt reduction or investing. So the whole game for me is, how can I maximize my A? How can I make the most amount of money I possibly can? And then I started buying a single family rental here, single family there, flex there. And pretty soon I had multiple streams of income, or as we call it in GoBundance, horizontal income. Most people want one bigger paycheck. We go for a lot of paychecks.
Wow.
So the A was maximizing my income, seeing how much was going in. B was knowing what's it cost me to live for my businesses and for personal expenses, and really paying attention to that, which most don't do. And C is how aggressively can I invest my profits to where I didn't even know it back at 25, but I became hell-bent on, I don't want to sell real estate forever. And at 40, I looked up and I had more passive income coming in than what it cost me a month to live. And I said, fuck it, I'm retiring right now. Just on a whim, I was down in Belize. I never want to list and sell another house. Well, what are you going to do? Well, you flip that house and that went really good. How about this? How about if you just dick around all the time and you ski and you hike and you bike and you dive and you just play, and all you got to do is buy one house a month and make 40 grand off that house, and that'll more than pay for the party. Just go play, dude. So for the next years, I just did what I call getting the goods in the woods, and just got out and just started thinking, well, what's next? What do you want to do with this one precious life that you've created for yourself?
Yeah. So you're retired now. What do you spend your time doing?
Well, I've been retired. I've just turned 57. So I've been retired for 17 years. This isn't my first rodeo at retirement. I've been playing this for some time. And one thing I love is I get to make it up as I go along. And I looked up around 50, and I was skiing 100 days a year. There's this thing called abalone dive, and I was filling up my abalone card with 84 out of 100 abalone a year that you could get at the time. I was just really out, just playing and contemplating. And then I looked up, it was like my 5th straight powder day, and one of my friends goes, I could do this every day. And it's like he punched me in the face, and it just hit me. Dude, you can't do this every day. And this is around 2009, 2010. I was like, you selfish bastard. You're out getting yours. You're out having fun. And look around you. All these people are hurting. All these young pros, if you will. All these young people in high school, college, out in the world are getting their asses kicked daily, kind of like I was as the grocery clerk, just muddling by, not really creating a magnificent life. And I was like, you have all this talent. You have all these friends who are just kicking ass. What if you had your friends who were kicking ass teach your friends who are hurting how to create a better life? So we invented 2 entities. One of them is called GoBundance, and the website for that is gobundance.com. And we're healthy, wealthy, generous men who choose to lead ethical lives. That's GoBundance. It's living life at a mastery level and kicking ass and helping lift others. And then the way we lift others is through our charity of choice called One Life Fully Lived. And this is a nonprofit I started about 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago, to help people dream, plan, and create their best lives. And what this is GoBundance, who David Osborne, Pat Hyben, Mike McCarthy helped me start. We go through and help others find their best life. So that's something I'm really, really proud of. We changed a lot of lives. There's now people like, I know you just interviewed Matt Aitchison, Diego Corzo, his little brother Gonzalo. So many people have gone through our program and are just kicking ass now. So we're really proud of that.
Cool, man. How did the guys that you started started GoBundance with, were they people that were just already retired like you, or how did you run into them?
Well, that's a funny story. In about 2005, I met Pat Hyben and David Osborne at a financial conference. I was just about to retire, and I was trying to figure out, I shouldn't say that. I should say I was just about to move up to the mountains and sell out. I'd been down in the valley, and I was trying to figure out, I knew it was the right time. Our market was just peaking. I owned 17 properties with 52 tenants down in Manteca, where I built this real estate business, and I was going to sell it all right into the craze. I saw it coming. I knew we weren't quite there yet, but I knew I was going to sell it. So I went to this financial conference to figure out what should I do with the proceeds when I sell all those properties. And I went running with a guy named Pat Hyben, and he told me how he and David Osborne have this 2-man mastermind group going, and they literally texted each other every day. Hey, I work 16 hours. And Osborne would say, I got you. I work 17 hours, because Osborne always wins. So they had this contest going. Who could work the hardest? They meet me. They go, what do you do, Tim? And I go, I ski, I hike, I bike. I'm getting the goods in the woods, man. And I'm out doing push-ups on park benches, jumping over shit. They go, this dude is freaking out there. Hey, you want to join our mastermind group? David Osborne, we became the three amigos: adventure, abundance, and accountability. I'm adventure. Osborne is abundance. He wants to be a billionaire someday. And Pat Hyben is accountability. If you tell Pat Hyben you're going to do something, you better do it, or he'll call you a false prophet of the highest order. Okay. So the three of us for about 5 years were this 3-man mastermind group. We'd get together, we'd go over our goals at night, but all day we'd go skiing, hiking, biking. We'd go get the goods in the woods and then get together and work on our goals. A few people said, hey, I want to go on those. So Mike McCarthy, Mark Schwager, and a few others went on some trips. And then Rock Thomas and Mark Yagi joined us. And we formalized GoBundance. And we had our first event with 14 people there, then 37. Now we're an awesome mastermind with over, I think, gosh, there must be 150 people in it. So
damn. So the original plan wasn't to come together and create abundance. That just kind of happened naturally as you guys did what you were best at.
Yeah. Just we were out doing our three amigos: adventure, abundance, and accountability, and just doing it. And others were, man, I want some of that. And then it just snowballed and mushroomed. And then we created our pillars, which are financial freedom, age-defying health, bucket list adventures, extreme accountability, genuine contribution, which is my piece, and outrageous relationships. These are the things that matter in life. And these are the fundamental basics of GoBundance.
Mm. It's interesting, man, that, you guys didn't have it all figured out, because I think that's something that a lot of young people, they want so bad, is to have it all figured out. They know every single step of the plan, but the truth is, you don't.
It's never going to happen. Same with One Life. When I started our nonprofit, One Life Fully Lived, it's funny. I had a vision for having a huge impact on our culture. I just had no idea of how we were going to do it. So I just threw together a conference, 92 people in our little hometown, had people like Mike McCarthy and Chris Lockhead come speak there, and they just rocked it. And then it just this is how it looks on a graph, you guys. And then finally it starts going like this. But all you young people that want all the answers and you want everything right in front of you, fuck it. It ain't going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Fail forward. Just every day, get up with determination and heart, and just put your heart and soul in it, and just have blind faith that it's going to work unless it's an idiotic idea, and ask your friends point blank, what do you think of my idea? And they'll probably, even if it's great, they'll probably tell you it sucks anyway. But just go get after it. And that's one thing I wake up at 5 or 6 every morning and just say, let me at them. And I don't care, good, bad, or ugly, what happened the day before. Every day's a fresh start, and I just get after it.
Making mistakes really has been, instrumental for me in achieving all kinds of things. I was an athlete before I ever became interested in the entrepreneurship world, and how I got good at being a hockey player and a soccer player was by practicing every day and going out and making so many mistakes that you'd make embarrassing ones, you'd score in your own net, you'd be falling down, you'd be missing hits and all this stuff. But the difference between the guys who ended up going places and the guys who ended up falling off teams and staying behind were the ones who were willing to get up every single time and make those mistakes over and over and over again, and laugh at themselves when they do it. Be willing to take the criticism and the coaching and helping them get better, looking for the mistakes and the feedback from those errors, and continually striving forward. And based on what I'm hearing from you, Tim, that's been one of your greatest assets as well, is your ability to make mistakes and keep moving no matter what, right?
Yeah, I have two thoughts off that. First of all, I would never want to be checked by Matthew Britt.
I could do that well, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I could. I have visions of flying into the free. One, and two, you're spot on, Matthew. It's such a great asset to have is so many people take themselves so seriously in everything, single thing, and they let things get to them. And my thought process has always been, you could tell whatever I do, I take it really seriously. I don't take myself seriously at all. I make so many huge, idiotic mistakes. And I get upset with myself, but I know how to laugh at myself, and things like I'm thinking of, I'll send an email to my team saying, no, we don't want to do that. This person's a putz and we don't want to use their services. And I'll include that person in the email. Just stuff like that, where it's like, it's so embarrassing, but it's just, you got to laugh at yourself. You got to laugh at the circumstances.
I like what you said there, Tim, about you take what you do very seriously, yet you take yourself lightly.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as being willing to laugh at yourself. And I think that's actually a very good way to say it. What you're doing is very serious to you, but the things that you do, the mistakes you make, you can laugh at yourself and be willing to make those mistakes and learn. And they're the aliens.
The aliens are back.
Yeah.
They're taking themselves way too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. They're getting on it. So yeah, that's exactly right. And that's how, back when I was selling real estate, I really was laser focused on coming through for the people I serve. Right now, I'm laser focused on my gig's more One Life. Mike McCarthy's running GoBundance. We're in good hands. It's up and running. I'm a part of that team, but I'm the general with One Life, and the buck stops here. And it's been really interesting growing a team and now empowering them, learning how to step away and let great people run their divisions. And that was something else I want to make sure we touched on is the gift of being able to delegate versus thinking you have to do it yourself. And all you young pros out there, as you build stuff, there's this period where you go from entrepreneur, where you have to be the jack of all trades and doing stuff outside of your comfort zone. And what a pain, man. You just hate it, but you have to do it. And then you start getting big enough to where you can have people to do stuff yourself. And my best advice there is to let them know how important this is all to you. 2, give them really clear instructions on what to do. 3, leave them alone and let them do it. And 4, when they make mistakes, put it all on you. I'm sorry, I didn't let you know how important that is. This is how you should have done, or ask them, what do you think you should have done differently to get the best result? And just empower them to be the best they can be, and you'll get good things out of it.
That's powerful stuff. That's something that I'm facing right now, actually, is, having all these people that are interested in building, this incredible organization with us, but the line between, wanting to do it all yourself because it's my vision or it's our vision, and then being like, okay, well, here, work on this with us. So my question for you is, how do you kind of get your ego away so that that vision will be able to go a lot better and more effectively when other people are working on with you?
You said the right word is ego. And it's just to take your personal ego out of it and look at the end result and what are you trying to do? And there's so many things where we're not best at that. There's others who can do it better. And if we just let them do their job. And I go back to my real estate days, it was, I'm really good at sales. I'm really good at connecting, but I'm not so good at the follow-up. So to just delegate all of that, and that piece I had no problem with whatsoever. I would tell people when I'd list their home, hey, look, I'm just a figurehead. Here's my team. They're going to take great care of you. And I showed them pictures of them. Here's my cell phone. Call me anytime, but you'll never call me. They'll take such good care of you. Then I'd go back to the team and say, all right, here's what's important. They got to move by such and such a day. Mrs. is really good. You want to talk to her? Her husband's kind of out there. Try to leave him. You know what I mean? Whatever the circumstances were, I'd let them know exactly what we're dealing with, what's most important to them, what obstacles we may have to overcome. I'd give the team all the information they needed to go, and then I got the hell out of there. and did what I did best, went and prospected for more business. Think about that. The division of labor where you're doing your unique 10% and you're given the freedom, you're giving somebody else the freedom to do what they do best, and you're not micromanaging, poking them in the ribs, bugging the shit out of them, just letting them blossom. And I'm seeing the same thing with my One Life team now. We've gone from where I was doing everything to 2 or 3 of us. And by the way, early on, the people, it wasn't always this way. You know, I care so much that I drive people nuts. And this is stuff I'm learning as we go. I've got a very strong personality. I care so deeply. And it's always a challenge to weigh out that, what are we trying to do? How are we getting it done? How much am I doing? And how can I stay out of the way and let the team do it? So.
Powerful. Tim, do you still write down your goals?
Yes, I do. Being in GoBundance, we have a thing called the One Sheet, and we do a lot with vision plans. I write down my goals in 8 different areas every year. I check on them on a regular basis because we get together so much. I have goals of what will my life be like at 70. I have a long-term vision of Tim at 90. And I'm in something called the Portrait. And my wife, Tina, we'll have been married 25 years next year. She and I are, let me think, that's 33 years from now. So we will have been married over 58 years at the time. We'll be in this picture with our kids, their kids, and their kids. You know this picture. I call it the Portrait. You got the hunched over little couple in the middle with the shit-eating grin. We're going to be on an island somewhere where I took everybody, and we're all getting the goods on an island. And think of all the things that have to happen for me to be in this portrait. I have to get along good with Tina. I have to get along good with all my family. I have to be healthy enough to make this happen. I have to have the money to pay for this whole trip. And if I do all of these things over the next 33 years, I get to be in the portrait. Hell yes, I still write goals. That's, and that's my long-term ultimate goal. That's where this is all going, because that's what matters is family.
Right.
So
incredible, man. What are those 8 areas that you were just talking about?
I'm sorry? Oh, the 8 areas?
Yeah.
Let's see how close I can come.
Okay.
There's financial, there's career. And when I say financial, that's investing. There's my relationships. There's my health. There's my spirituality. There's my friends and family outside of Tina. There's my physical environment, and there's my contribution given back. Whoa, I nailed it. And if anybody knows me, they know I put contribution at the end of that. Candidly, that's probably where hours spent in the top 2 or 3. The 4 things I focus on is contribution, family, career. And when I say career, it's more investing now. Just I water ski in other people's wake, which I'd love to touch on, and getting the goods in the woods, staying healthy. I'm out playing 2 to 4 hours every day.
Wow.
I live on a freaking mountain.
Living it.
On logs. I do chin-ups on. I jump up on stumps. I have my own personal home gym I've made that's all toys that are natural. So
that's awesome.
So
man, so all right, for all the guys that are watching this right now, a bunch of young guys, we're looking at you and we're like, where do I start? Right? I want to be playing my whole life. I want to be enjoying. I want to be making it all happen. I want to be impacting, inspiring, contributing. I'm going to class every day and listening to a teacher that doesn't have the results that I want.
Yeah. Well, first of all, and I hope this doesn't come out wrong. If you're in college and mom and dad are paying for it and you're going to be a pharmacist, you're on the right track. Stay there. If you're in college and you're doing underwater basket weaving and you're in debt, you're building up debt right now, get the fuck out of there. You're on the wrong track. I'm sorry, but it's not serving you well. You're going to come out with a buttload of debt, and you're going to make $13 an hour somewhere, maybe. And that just may not make sense. So that's my little soapbox. Because there's a lot of people who should go to college, but if you have no idea what you're going to do and you're in college trying to figure that out and you're accumulating debt while you do it, I just don't see it. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I would start with our nonprofit One Life Fully Lived, and that's the number onelifefullylived.org. We have a conference coming up October 22nd and 23rd in Sacramento, California. 2 days. It should cost well over $1,000. It costs $175 for, we have over 50 world-class presenters there. This is, I told you, GoBundance's pillars. One Life is about teaching. You say, where do you start? This is where you start. Learning, who am I at my core? What's my dream? What's my plan? How am I going to fund it? And how am I going to be healthy in my mind, body, and spirit to pull it all off? That's One Life Fully Lived's core teachings. So we have a conference October 22nd and 23rd. You can go to onelifefullylived.org and learn more about it. Or we have a course called My One Life Roadmap. We jokingly call it the class you wish you had in school. And it's, once again, teaching who am I, what's my dream, what's my plan, how am I going to fund it, and how am I going to be healthy enough to pull it off. We have a do-it-yourself course coming out, and then we have a live online course, group coaching that'll be coming out also. And this is just teaching the stuff that you need to learn to live the kind of life I'm living. So.
There it is. That's funny, man. All the resources are out there. You know, everything that we literally want, all the people we want to learn from, and all the tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff that we want to take our life to the next level is out there. We really just got to be willing to go out and find it and go track down the people that have the results that we want. And we learn from them, we'll be able to take that same path and start to learn what we can be doing to do the same thing.
And that's what the like GoBundance and One Life, that's what we do, is we get people together who have common goals and all want more out of their life. And then it's like one giant mastermind where we're all learning together. And think about, you know, that saying, you're the middle of the 5 people you surround yourself. Check yourself. Who are those 5 people in your life? Who are the people you're spending time around day in and day out? Are they, you know, and by the way, it's good to have a few knucklehead friends, you know, I like, but for the most part, who do you spend your time around day in and day out? Are they serving you well? Are they worthy of your time? And there may be 1 or 2 where you need to say, you know what, I'm going to spend less time there.
Yeah, I read this quote somewhere that was saying how they're the people that you would spend a day with. They're the people that you would spend an hour with. They're the people that you would spend a minute with, right? Distinguish who those people are and make sure that you keep at it unless those people change to be in a different category.
Right. How can you get a lot of time around the people you want to spend a day with? And I think that's what happened with David, Pat, and I back in the mid 80s in the mid 2000s, as we realized, you know, this is somebody I want to spend more time with. And we really took each other up to another level. And it's good to have those 2 or 3, maybe 4, maybe it's just one other person that's in your mastermind group that are your homies that really help take you up to another level. Yeah. But if you look up and those same people, you know, you're just going out partying with them and they're kind of holding on to your ankles while you're trying to get somewhere, those are the ones that rather than spending a day with, you might choose to spend an hour or a minute with.
Cool, man. I had an interesting question for you. Do you have is there like some failure that happened in your life that you, that you kind of look back and laugh at and you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that? I think it would just be cool for people who are watching to hear about something like that.
Oh God, where do I start?
The one that stands out more than the rest.
You know, I would say the 2 biggest quote failures I ever have are 2 moves I didn't make. And one of them is I had an apartment complex in escrow. I was buying 25 units in my old town, Manteca, for $1 million. And I I had it in escrow, and it didn't appraise because the market was going like this, and it was already worth 1.5 at the time, and it's probably worth 3 now. And so because the market was going up so quick, it didn't appraise for the million, which is crazy. But so I asked the seller to take back, and they were carrying 10%. And I asked them to carry another 10%. It didn't appraise. I had the money. And they said, no, obviously you're not the right buyer. Just go away. And I did. And I should have just put up my own money and bought it. Was it, just one of those, a lot of other things going on, quick decision, made the wrong decision. Another one is I owned a piece of property. I jokingly called it Trump Towers. That's funny. He's running for president now. This was back in the 80s, 90s. And the reason we called it Trump Towers is it was a dog. And it was just this piece of crap property with 6 units and a mobile home right along Highway 99 running north and south in California. And right after I sold it, I was always thinking, how can I get more income off this property? There's always problems here. I'm never really making any money off it. How can I get more income? And I sold it. I carried back financing. 6 months later, this big, beautiful freeway, what are those things?
Overpass.
Thank you, Tina. Yeah, my wife doesn't let me forget this one. She just yelled, billboard.
Oh, billboard.
Billboard. Yeah. They put billboards up going both ways with hundreds of thousands of cars every day. I found out it cost them $65,000 to put up, and they make $5,000 a month off it. Wow. And my wife remembers billboard because right after it went up, she said, look, honey, they put a billboard where our property was. Weren't you always looking for ways to make money off that property? Why didn't we put a billboard on it? And so they do the math, 5,000 into 60,000, we would have paid it off within a year and had 5,000 a month coming in perpetuity. Wow. So yeah, those two. And I love those two. You know why? Because they fucking piss me off because, and it's good to have stuff like that. Mistakes you made that really just grind you because when the next opportunities come up, you probably don't miss out on them.
Yes.
So yeah, good question, by the way.
Those are great stories. And just to go along with that, I got one of those myself, and I had a plan to buy 5 pieces of rental property. So 5 doors of rental property. And all of a sudden I started making all this money, and the ego gets in the way. And next thing you know, I'm looking at $1 million house, and I buy $1 million house and forget the original plan and end up losing that house after 2 years and screw myself over. And, the lessons I learned from that are totally irreplaceable and tremendously valuable. That just burns my ass every time I think about it, but at the same time makes me smile and makes me, who I am, and realize the importance of those goals you write down and the plans you write. It's okay to change plans, but when you have certain plans that you've got written down and you've had them written down for years, and they're things you dream about and you want, you got to control that ego and make sure you stick with the plan that you made instead of letting the money get the best of you. And that's a huge one for me. It burned my ass.
Yeah. Hey, I want to touch on that, Matthew. That's such a good point. When I was talking about as your income goes this way, keep your expenses down here.
Yep.
That's the most challenging thing. Take have a plan, work your plan. And the plan is financial freedom. It's your duty to provide financial security for your family. All you young people, I need to tell you, Social Security will not be there for you. Or if you're in Canada, I don't even know what you call it. But this is all up to you. And when you can take your ego out of it, remember the defense wins championships. No offense, Matthew, but that $1 million house was the opposite of what we're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah.
And right now you can see there's an upstairs. I live in a 3-story castle, 5,000 square foot with a freaking elevator built into a mountain. I didn't get all that. I didn't get that till I was way done. The game was far over. And just so you know, we traded sideways. We kept buying little single family homes and then keeping the one behind us. And that was our plan. And we worked our plan and we lived well within our means. And I give you those two examples. If you think about them, they're both examples of investments where I didn't do enough, but they're not a lot of, I can't tell you a lot of things like that where early in the game, we went and bought that big fancy car. I never did it. I drove like 3 cars from the 80s till now.
Yeah.
And right now there's a 8-year-old Subaru paid off, parked out in the garage. And I don't need no fancy, whatever it is, the newest, latest bells and whistles, all that crap. We do have this nice house. The family all comes at Christmas. There's 20 here. It's the only emotional decision we've ever made. And boy, do I love it. But, so.
Well, I got into the keeping with the Joneses, action. There were people that were working with me that were acquiring all these nice things, and all of a sudden I'm making more money in a month than I used to in a year, and business is just exponentially growing every single month, and all that shit went to my head and made me make an emotional choice in a wrong direction. That looking back and in hindsight was absolutely catastrophic at the time, but has been a very good blessing for me though for the future.
What a great conversation for the young people to hear of what we're talking about right here. Just think if during that time period, you were a gym rat, you're making all this money and you're siphoning it all off into appreciating assets that give you a return.
Yes.
To where if you just would have had the discipline to do that during those periods, how different your life would be forever now.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit. I was doing some of that. I did put some money into some investments, and those will give me good returns as time goes on. I did put some money away, but I also got sucked into that cash flow mistake, and it's bit me in the ass, but taught me a ton.
Yeah. Well, I hope you don't. I hope you don't mind me using this as it's just great learning for the young people hearing this. From your 20s to your 50s is really your peak earning times. And all of you, especially 20s, 30s, 40s, man, just really, it's that A minus B equals C, knowing what's coming in, what's going out, what's left to invest, and defense wins championships. If you get 2 things out of this call, well, 3 things. A minus B equals C, defense wins championships, and come to one life fully lived this on. But if you get 3 things out of this call, those are my specialty is and getting the goods in the woods.
Getting the goods in the woods. I love it.
While you're making your hay, siphon the money away, put it into appreciating assets, get multiple streams of income coming in, game over. Then you get all the fun, fancy stuff.
Yes.
So how much money do you think should be put away towards saving or towards investing?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it differs for everybody. I also think what you invest in differs for everybody. There's a thing called risk tolerance, and you want to learn what yours is. Some people have a very low risk tolerance. I had a huge risk tolerance. I've never had any savings, and I still don't. Okay. I go the opposite way. I go out and find something to invest in before I have the money to invest in it. And then work hard to make the money. As an example, for you young people, say like, you want to buy your first house and you need $20,000 to get there. I would write a 6-month escrow on it. And I literally did this for the first 4 or 5 properties I bought. And then I'd go out and make the extra $20,000. I'd just put my head down and say, all right, mofo, let's see what you got. And I'd come up with $18,200 of the $20,000, put $1,800 on a credit card, and close the escrow. And then of course it needed a new roof and carpets and stuff like that. I'd probably put that on a credit card. I would eat mac and cheese for 4 months while I did the work and barely got by. And then I'd pay off the credit cards. I'd be back to square. I'd have a tenant in there making $250 a month extra, and I'd go find another property to do it again. That's a very, very high risk tolerance, and it served me very well. Some people have their money in mutual funds. That's a low risk tolerance. I suggest you learn all you can about investing and be on the higher side. I don't suggest. I'm a rare person that has how can I put it, a very high risk tolerance. So
I like what you're saying there, Tim. And just I would bet that your tolerance is high, but you also take calculated risks. So you don't just go in with throwing shit everywhere. You make high risk choices based on your knowledge and education in an area of specialty, correct?
that's exactly right. That's a really, really good point. I don't just I don't work really hard and put it on 29 red. I put my money on stuff I really know and did a lot of homework, learning, investing, to make sure I'm putting it in the right place. So, yeah.
While we're on the same note of investing, Tim, you were saying earlier that you wanted to mention what you're doing now currently for investing.
Well, now I more water ski in other people's wake. Yeah. Back in the day, I did it all myself. I was in this town called Manteca. I was listing and selling real estate there. I was building my little empire. I told you I had 17 properties with 52 tenants, anything from single family duplexes, 8 units, land in the path of growth, few commercial buildings, stuff like that. Just built them one nook at a time. There's no get rich quick. It's all slow. Just this is what it looks like on a graph, you guys. It barely moves, and then it finally goes. Okay. Takes decades. Anybody that tells you there's get rich quick, probably full of crap. Okay. But now I'm busy with all my other endeavors. I don't want to spend time investing and doing all the work. I find very talented people. My good friend Andrew Cushman buys apartments down in the South. I invest in there. Got another investment where we're investing in lawsuits, attorney law. I make 18% off it. So I find stuff where I don't have to do any work. I make a good return and just let somebody else do all the work. So
sounds pretty fun.
Yeah. And one quick thing on that. So I'm a young person listening to this, and I think, well, gosh, this is great. This person has all these opportunities. I don't have any opportunities. Sure you do. Think out of the box. Maybe you might come across great real estate deals, but don't have any money. And if somebody else brought the money in, you could partner with them. Maybe you have a parent, uncle, good friend that's already investing and might let you be like a flea on their back and ride along. So they put up $100,000, you put up $5,000. Think out of the box. Don't say no. Don't think of how it can't be done. When I was young, they used to tell me he doesn't know it can't be done, so he's out there doing it every day. That's what you do. You think out of the box. You think, how can I make this happen? You don't take no for an answer.
Very good. Tim, I want to ask you a little bit about your passions. Now, I have a funny feeling that when you were first into the real estate world, that wasn't necessarily a passion of yours, but now as you've built up the freedom to focus on the things that you truly are passionate about, and as you've moved towards creating One Life Fully Lived and the Go Abundance organization, I think those are probably more in your passion wheelhouse, so to speak. And I just want to kind of get a grips around how you've learned to transition from making money and kind of that being a focus on wealth creation, and then shift it into doing things you're truly passionate about and giving back and having contribution be the things that guide you now.
First of all, I think, there's people that are passionate to begin with. And when I was a grocery clerk, I was the best shelf stocker in that store. Okay. I love to just put up cases as fast as I can. I remember I was working in a union store. I went to a new shop. They said, slow down. You're making the rest of us look bad. I said, I'm here for 8 hours. It's my workout. I'm going at my pace. Don't ever tell me that again. Sorry, boys. And that's just the way I run. So wherever I am, I'm passionate about it, whatever I do. When I was listing and selling real estate, I was really passionate about it. I was passionate about coming through for the people I serve. And then towards the end, I just got sick of it and I was done. You nailed that, Matthew. But and now I'm absolutely laser focused on changing our culture. I want to make it cool to care about your life. And that's my passion now, is bringing along the people who aren't thinking about what a wonderful life they can have, of literally shaking them, slapping them upside the head and going, dude or lady, you got it in you, make it happen. So that's my passion now. And I love to see people giggle. I love to get people out in the boonies. We just had a big group from GoBundance and One Life up Abalone diving up on the coast. We just had a blast, bunch of families. And on the last day, I got out with 3 other guys, and we just snuck out and went diving. And we're just there right at the end at the ocean, and we got our abalone. And it's just those moments, are what I live for. It's just special moments, getting the goods with wonderful people. And that's what makes me passionate now.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, Tim. Well, hey man, we're getting close to the 50-minute mark here. Before we end up the call, do you want anything else that you want to really leave with the young people that are watching this, or maybe just a summary of what you went over?
Yeah. First of all, if anybody wants to contact me, please feel free to reach out. You can email me at tim@timrhode.com. I hope you love what you heard. You definitely, I know I'm not a boring guest. I love life. Yeah, I know it shows through. Please check out onelifefullylived.org. Check out gobundance.com, and either come to one of our conferences or do our My One Life roadmap. I think it'll change your life. It'll help give you the tools to make an exceptional life. And David and Matt, I really appreciate you having me on. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, we'll be sure to put the links right to the episode so that anyone that's watching can just go right below the video. So guys, below the video, you'll see the links right there. Just click it and make your way.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Tim, you're a superhero, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tim. Have an amazing day, my friend. Grab life big.
Yes. Getting the goods in the woods. Later, boys.
Later.